Well, you might have heard the law change the other day about the road user charge, and many people were talking about Uber drivers and how this might affect them.
Yeah, well, it's certainly going to cut the profits, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
they've gone from basically not having to pay anything except for electricity, which is quite minimal to charge a vehicle, to basically having to pay these road user charges.
Yeah, and so we thought, I wonder what it is like for an Uber driver with all these changes going on. And then, as luck and the providence of the Lord would have it, we happen to have one in the building with us right now. So, Chris, welcome to the Rhema Breakfast Show.
Thank you.
So, you are quite the side hustler. So, you work here full time, but you also drive an Uber.
I was driving Uber a couple of years back.
He's recently retired.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, look, we've got all sorts of questions, but Kat, you want to kick us off?
I would love to. First of all, let's talk about the difference that this road user charge law is going to make to people.
Yep.
How much of an impact do you see that having on people that are Uber drivers?
I don't think it's going to be much of an impact for the Uber drivers because they basically can be earning more than a normal person earns, in the sense like a normal, like a desk job person, or how much he earns. Maybe he can earn a double of what those people earn.
Really?
Yeah.
So, because I mean, that's the next big question, really, isn't it? Like, how good a job is it being an Uber
Yeah,
driver? Is
how
it like a
profitable?
profitable thing?
It is a profitable thing, and it's your own work hours. You don't have to like stick to your hours, and it's flexible, and especially in the evenings and in the nights, they earn a lot of money, and especially if the surcharges are kicked in, so they sometimes get double the rate or triple the rate.
Right.
Well, let's talk about this because I've experienced this when I've been at a concert where I've seen the price of the Uber kind of just go, exponentially higher than what it would normally be.
Yeah.
So how does that all work?
So once when there is a concert and there are, say, more than 2,000 people, so at least 500 of them or 300, they're
Right.
gonna go into Uber. So once the demand is high, then the prices starts going high. The surge charges. So if it is a $10 trip, you might be paying $30 or $35 for it.
Right. Wow. So, look, by the way, everybody, while we're asking these questions, if you've ever had questions for an Uber driver, you can send them through to us, 8168 with the first word Rhema, and get some trade secrets from us. But, look, I'm thinking about post-concert behavior. Are concert goers maybe the more challenging, or like what kind of, how well behaved are people when they jump in an Uber normally?
So the best times, well-behaved times is up to 10 o'clock in the night.
Well, that makes
So there's
sense.
two groups of people. One first group is the people who go for the evening dinner. So sometimes it can be a couple,
Right.
or
Date
maybe
night.
Yeah, date night or something. So they go in the evening and then maybe they have a little bit of a drink or something, and they're well behaved. But the second group of people who start going at 11 o'clock or 11:30, and when they come back, they don't even know who they are.
Oh, no. Okay.
Oh, no.
They don't know who they are, where they're going, but fortunately their address is stored in their phone, right?
Sometimes they just sleep in the car.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
they-
you've had to wake people before
Yeah,
to be like, excuse me, this
there's
is your
been-
stop. Good
There's
night.
been a few times actually I had to wake people. So the thing is, once a lady was at the back seat and she went, she went off to sleep, and then when I reached the destination, she got up and asked me, "How did you know my address?" and who are you? And then all sorts of questions. I said, "Listen, I'm an Uber driver. I have everything in the app.
Yeah.
The destination has arrived. Please step out."
You shared a story before, which was quite interesting, about someone who basically didn't realize how they even got in the car in the first place. What other stories come to mind from your adventures?
There was this one person who was he was fully intoxicated, and the best part was he was sitting next to me, and so while we were traveling, he was totally off, like he went off to sleep. And when we reached the destination, I first gently, politely said, "Your destination has arrived." There was no response. And a few times, and no response. Then I started nudging him. No response.
Oh, no.
And I was kind of getting a little bit worried. Then I started like nudging him so hard, shaking him to the point, literally, it was like as if I was hitting him. And he couldn't even move. Then finally, he woke up.
Yeah.
And then I told him his destination has arrived. He couldn't even get out of the car. And,
Wow. So you had to help him out of the car?
no.
No?
So he had to help himself, and he has to go to his house, actually.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
he had to work himself out. So, like, please.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, of course, as people might have assumed, also working here with Rhema, Chris, you're a Christian,
Yeah.
and so you're in this environment where you've got people in that kind of a state.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know whether or not your faith ever intersects with the people who are jumping into your Uber. Did you ever have any big God chats with people when you were driving them to a destination?
Yeah, the moment actually when someone steps into the car, they would ask me, "So where are you from?" And then they'll ask me if this is your job or you do something else. And then I explain to them that I work for a Christian organization. And then they'll ask me, "So what do you do?" and things like that. And then they go a little further, asking about my family. And then I say, we have a daughter. God has blessed us after 12 years of marriage. And that opens up a little bit. Okay, so what do you mean, like after 12 years? So she's a miracle child for us. And God enabled us to have this child after waiting for so long. And then sometimes people would open up and say, "Oh, in my family, my daughter or my son is also waiting." And then that just opens up, they say, "Okay, maybe I will pray and ask God to do a miracle in their lives."
Wow, that's so cool. So it really does open doorways to these kind of conversations. What's one of the most fascinating or unexpected questions you've been asked as an Uber driver?
The most common question they ask me is, "Where are you from?" So I tell them, like, "Well, I'm not from New Zealand. I'm from India." And so what made you come to New Zealand? And all those sort of, that's the most common question.
What's your answer to that when you get asked what made you come to New Zealand?
And I always bring God, in the conversation. God brought us to this place, and it wasn't by accident. And, He opened the door for us. We prayed about it, and God opened the door, and we came into this country.
Wow, God opened the door for me so that I can open the door for you. Please step inside.
Really fascinating too to know that you've done this. You work here at a Christian organisation, and as a Christian, you've driven people around in your Uber vehicle.
Would you do it again?
I would actually, if I have time.
Yep.
Okay. How much could you make in one busy evening?
Well, it depends. On a weekend, say suppose on a Friday and Saturday evenings, if you're driving, you can earn maybe close to $700, $800 if you're working.
Wow.
$700 or $800 in one night if you're driving around a lot.
All
That's
right.
incredible.
Best places to go if you're looking to make it as an Uber driver, like where would you base yourself?
In the city.
Yep.
Yeah. So what happens is actually because people always come to the city for dinner or for party.
Right.
And then when they want to go back, and so they use an Uber.
You can thank AT Transport for the lack of options in returning home. Okay, another quick fire question. What's the weirdest thing that's been left in the backseat of your Uber?
Once I noticed a $50 note in the backseat.
Ooh.
Wow.
And you were like, is that a mistake? Or is that a tip?
So by the time I had done a few trips, and when I got back home, I noticed that note on that seat. So, well, I didn't know what to do with that.
Yeah, so you just kept it in a safe place and then exchanged it for something else later on. Last question then from us today. Somebody considering becoming an Uber driver right now, what would be the most important thing for them to know before they embark upon this little side hustle?
So actually the important thing is, being yourself and your character. Because with the Uber drivers, it's always the more stars you get, or you get more points, and that leads to more trips.
Right.
So a person getting into the car would always see how clean your car is, and how do you behave yourself, and your character, your genuineness. Like if they are happy, they can give you a 5-star rating. Which means if you get more 5-star ratings, you get more trips.
So like any business, professionalism is key.
Yes, that's right.
There we go. Trade secrets from a Uber driver this morning. Chris, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Amazing. I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe and turn your notifications on so you don't miss the next video.
We'll see you in the next one.